Da-da-da. Hello, everybody.
Hi. We're going to wait about 2 more minutes for our
Okay.
audience to come in. Welcome, everyone.
I'm gonna get my water here. I have my coffee, my water, my paper, my brushes, my liquid mask, whatever I need.
Nice.
Oh, but the light now is not so much in my glasses. Good. A little bit.
Well, all right. Let's see here. We have 2 attendees joining us. Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning. So because in this I don't see them.
Yeah, they're going to be just chatting with us in the Q&A today.
Okay. Cool.
We have a hello. Hello, Robin. Thanks so much for joining us today. And in just a moment, we're going to get started. The focus of today's webinar is going to be watercolor painting, and I'm going to let Cibele talk a little bit more about that. But participants should feel free to paint alongside us or to just watch and relax, have some coffee, have some breakfast, settle into your day. For those of you who don't know me, hello, my name is Sophia Heineke. I'm the program coordinator here at the Creative Center at University Settlement, which has been providing free arts programs to people living with cancer and other chronic illnesses for over 25 years. We've been running a lot of watercolor classes as part of our workshop program this semester, which is totally free for anyone who has ever lived with cancer or another chronic illness. And we find that there's something about watercolor as a medium that really helps participants find kind of a meditative flow. Once you understand these really basic techniques, the water kind of does the work for you and allows you to kind of further let go and to just see what happens. It's a medium of happy accidents, as we say. And most folks don't really know where to start with buying supplies for watercolor. We have a lot of classes that have been using liquid inks. You can also buy palettes. I have kind of an older, very small one that I'm going to use today just to try it out. And then there's also tube watercolors that are very potent and a little more expensive. And all of those are great, but you can start with an even more simple supply before you commit to buying any of those. And I'm really excited to introduce Cibele Vieira, who is one of our artists in residence at the Creative Center. And I feel really lucky to invite you into the world of watercolor with Cibele. And Cibele is going to be using something that's a little more non-traditional, but very accessible. Cibele, do you want to talk a little bit about how you came to the Creative Center and what your personal arts practice is like before we get into the supplies and the painting activity for today?
Sure. So, welcome to my studio. It's in my basement in Queens. Here in the back, some artwork that I've been working on right now since the pandemic started. I've been really painting for this show that suppose is coming in December, starting at the gallery in Queens. But anyway, I have a little slideshow her own. Okay, so. Anyway, so we're gonna do today. So this project that we're gonna use in the back is a monochromatic work that I've been, the past 2 years, and I use ink that's it's carmine, that's made from cochineal. Is a little bug that is farmed in Chile. So I kind of it's kind of a little metaphor about environment and climate change, because this bug just lives on the Andes, on the bottom of the Andes, and will die if the temperature changes 3 degrees in that zone. And it's also looks like it's red, looks like blood. Supposedly is an acid that the bug produces. There's a little debate about that. But so I started because I was really, I'm from South America, I'm from Brazil, so I was really enchanted by the color and how it was made. But today, nobody has carmine at home, but everybody has coffee. So I made a little espresso coffee, and I kind of even put in the microwave a little for like 2 minutes just to make it even more strong. So we're gonna be painting with coffee today. Okay.
Very cool.
Let me. So now I'm gonna do. Gonna share my video with you guys. Okay, and I'm gonna show you what materials we're gonna be working on, and we'll talk about a little bit more materials. And Sophia, please feel free to stop me because I'm a little fast all the time. And so let me show you. I'm gonna do one thing here first so we can see.
Yeah, we're gonna get a 2-camera view, so hopefully folks can still see Cibele, and we'll also be able to see her demo screen. Wow, this is very cool. And yeah, just to reiterate, all of the paintings Cibele is gonna be showing us today have been done with one single pigment. So you don't need a full palette. You can either just be using coffee, or you can similarly make a very rich pigment with like English breakfast tea, I've heard too.
Yes. So my project is called the Tardigrade Wars and its Allies. Tardigrade is this tiny little animal. It's a microorganism that's like a little smaller than 1 millimeter and living in the moss. And I got fascinated by this animal because supposedly it is the toughest animal on Earth, even though it's tiny, can survive radiation, can survive high temperatures, and goes in the cocoon mode, and can live more than 100 years old. So we're gonna paint this, but before we paint this, let's talk about materials.
Awesome. And if at any point folks have questions, please type them in the Q&A and we'll be able to answer them live.
So I use brushes, depends on the size of the brush. I like to go high, but before I always go high, a huge format, I always do smaller, like 8x10s. So it's just, you just try the brushes and feel comfortable. As you feel comfortable, you're gonna have preferences. Today I'm gonna be working with 12, 10, 8, and a 1. But now, work what you have and just experiment. And if you like, you have to buy, you can start to buy, but don't buy a lot of things. First try things out. I love also to work with things that like a spray. We're gonna be spraying things. We're gonna be dropping things, a syringe. So I paper to draw, things like that. So and I have a carmine that I make my drawings before I paint, just to make sure that I have what I want. Today, because we have coffee, I'm gonna use a brown Crayola pencil. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my 8x10 paper, and I'm going to spray it with coffee.
I don't have a spray bottle. All of my spray bottles still have fairly expensive makeup in them. So I'm just going to use a regular 8 brush and lay down a little bit of water.
Yeah.
You can
do like, you can figure your brush, you put something, and you
send that idea too. A little flicking action.
So I did a spray. What do you know? If you don't want to wait the thing to dry, because you have to wait, you can use a hair dryer. But anyway, it's gonna take a little while to dry. So I already had one that I pre-made for us, and it's already dry. Okay, so now we're gonna make a drawing. The drawing I drew depends like how. I'm used to my tardigrade. So I already know more or less what I wanna do. Mm-hmm. So I do very simple drawing, but if you feel uncomfortable, you can draw more detail oriented. Whatever you feel comfortable.
So Bella, we have a really good question from a participant named Omi. What is the best paper to use?
Oh, paper. Forgot to talk about paper. So I like cold press paper, thick paper, okay? Like there is watercolor, there's so many different papers. I like texture. Mm-hmm. I like the paper doesn't really work when it gets wet. If you have too thin paper, it's gonna get all worked out. Some people tape the paper, and this what they call there's a technique for that. I have no patience for that. So I'd rather to buy a cold press paper. no, the hot press is the one that looks like very smooth and doesn't really, no, the hot press has very smooth paper and doesn't absorb as much the liquid, okay? The cold press is the one that has a lot of texture, and I feel it absorbs more the liquid, and it's easy to work, and I think by the end also it's prettier, the results, okay?
Yeah.
I think everybody should try and see. A lot of people that work with ink prefer hot press, hot press, and a lot of people that work in watercolor prefer cold press. I myself prefer cold press, okay, the one that's has a lot of texture.
Pretty textured, yeah.
And I like thick paper, as thick as I can buy. I cannot, no, because as thick paper gets thick, gets more expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, so as thick as I can afford. That's what I say to you, and just stick of one paper, because so you know changes that how you paint depends. So if you stick of like if you keep changing the paper, you have to learn each paper. So if you keep one the same, you're going to improve your painting that in that kind of set. Okay, so try to always buy the same kind of paper, the same thickness, the same paper.
Yeah, Cibele, I have a request. Is there any way you can move the camera back a little bit just so we can see a little more of the paper?
Let's see. The paper is small. It's like there's not much to see. See?
Okay. Yeah, I think I can see
10.
it.
Yeah.
Great.
So now what I do first, I spray the paper first because I want to see the results what things were.
Okay.
So some people draw before, some people draw after. I draw after they spray the paper because I want to see how the things draw. And now I'm going to make my composition thinking about how the spray was set. So I can see here, for example, that there's space here. So I'm going to try to paint because I like the effects of the coffee here, and I don't want to paint on top of that. So I'm going to try to make my drawing between those drops. But not necessarily has to be. So I'm going to just like, the tardigrades are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 balls. So I'm trying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 balls. Okay, very simple. So now,
do you want to tell us how you chose to paint the tardigrade, and do you have any suggestions for other folks about what they could paint?
Okay, so I was inspired by my child. Okay, let me just start to look at this, and I will keep talking. Okay, so I got my coffee. Okay, and actually I forgot here. I want to get a paper. So this is and I'm gonna just put on the paper to make sure that's not too much paint. Okay, just pour dry a little bit, and I am going to start. So the tardigrade is an interesting animal, as I said. Is a very tough animal. And my child got really, now he's 10 years old, but like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, he was really in that age of his life that was like concerned about what death means and stuff like that, and he found out that tardigrades were very tough animals. So it was a very comforting for him knowing about tardigrades. And I never had heard about this animal too. So we started to research about tardigrades. We ended up having a tardigrade farm inside his bedroom. And we had thing to see the tardigrades. And we started to draw tardigrades. So, and it's like, I decided to paint tardigrades as well. And it's a very interesting animal because very, very people know about it, but it's everywhere in the world. You just have
it also seems like it's a pretty New York apartment friendly pet that you can have.
Yes, very friendly pet. So, and I was very interested, and so we started to paint and draw with him, and he started to make drawings, and he started to put the tardigrades in a lot of wars. And so I started to try to paint his drawings, and from there I started to paint my own drawings. But I feel like, and by the end it becomes a lot of research. Because the tardigrades become like in the back you can see my paint is actually there's no tardigrade in this painting. There's
wow.
So the project becomes the tardigrade wars and its allies. you know, so I felt, and so what I keep going is I research. So we have here the Tardigrades painted. I want to wait a little to dry more. I want to do a little darker in one point, but I can show you. I research a lot, books. I go online to get inspiration. Here's all image researching. Because sometimes you don't know what you have an idea what you want to do, like animal or something like that. But what am I gonna do with this? I go online and I research. I Google images all the time. I go and use bookstores and buy a lot of imaginary like books with images. Research, and be open-minded. It's the way I kind of like go. Okay, I'm going to try to do a little darker, and I'm going to go for a little smaller brush.
Yeah, I just want to show everyone. So I didn't have the spray bottle to create that technique, but using the splattering method, I was able to get a pretty interesting texture. And I'm using blue today for my pigments. So
very nice. We're using blue?
I'm going to do blue.
Nice.
I also just want to say, Cibele, I think that's really such an interesting place to start with your professional arts practice. It's sort of a combination of like fantasy and science. And the work behind you is just it's so full, but also it's so clear, even with just using that one pigment. And I'm wondering if you're going to talk a little bit more about how to create those different like grades in the pigment. Like you've got that really dark red and then just lighter and lighter and lighter.
Yeah, so that's called, that's the beauty of watercolor or painting with ink is layering. Okay, so that's why we draw a little more.
Tati has a question in the chat, and it seems like she wants to know the tea for painting that can work is usually a darker tea. So like an English breakfast or, something that is like a black tea. I've seen people also paint with hibiscus tea, which will be a little lighter than what Cibele has behind her, but will give you like a pretty vibrant pink color, kind of like this.
Yeah, you layer. No, you also keep layering. Getting darker. If you want to get darker, you can layer things up. Well, but other thing is, you have to fix. If you want to keep the painting for a long time, you're gonna have to fix tea. Even like a lot of watercolor, like the carmine is called the fugitive painting, so it's gonna fade with the sun. So I always use a fixer, and fixer you have to use a mask. The best way is go outside. I have acrylone. I don't know if this one is a good one, but to pick your fixer, just Google it. Google reviews, fixing watercolor or pigment, and find a good fixer, and you buy a spray. It's very easy. There's no it's amazing. I thought, oh my gosh, no, it's so easy. The first time I did it, there's no mystery. Just Google reviews. You're comfortable in your price range. Put your mask on, go outside and spray. Okay. I also spray mine in the back of the paintings. So because we never noticed that, but the sun also comes from the back of the paper and the humidity. So I spray both sides.
Yeah, and just as a reminder again, if people go the fixative route, that's for our archival quality projects. So it's not necessary, but if you do want to use that, please make sure if you're using a spray fixative, you're doing that in a very well ventilated space or outside. And there's also some less toxic options, I believe, that come with like spray pumps as opposed to those kind of continuous aerosol spray cans, which can fill the air up a little bit more with things that maybe you don't want to be breathing. But I also am seeing in the chat that there's a request to just see my background one more time.
A little closer.
Yeah, I didn't have the spray bottle, but I feel like the sort of cloudiness, Cibele suggested that technique of just kind of like flicking with the brush. And that worked really well to create this. So if you don't have a spray bottle, don't worry, you can still get this kind of even, really interesting textured background. So I have to figure out what will be the subject of my painting now. And like Sam, I loved animals when I was younger. So I think I'm going to have to dig deep, think about my childhood.
I have here another one that I made before. And this one I put on his feet, but I'm not very happy with this guy yet. So I'm gonna try to get even darker. We keep layering. Or if you think you put too much watercolor, you go with your paper and you just take it out.
And if anyone has any questions, please feel free. I hope everyone is really exploring the unipigment watercolor method here.
So
It feels like at first you kind of have less options, but I'm really feeling like there's a lot of options within this blue that I've chosen.
Blue is a beautiful color.
I really love that red too, Cibele. I mean, it is pretty incredible to me that you make that just from this pigment from the cochineal bug. That's very cool.
It's beautiful, no? So carmine is used. We don't know that, but in our red lipsticks, they use carmine. There was the cochineal bug, so there's a bug on your lipstick. Meat. When you go to supermarket and buy those beautiful red meat, a lot of times actually meat is not that red.
Wow.
It's pigmented with carmine, with cochineal, jelly. So a lot of things you eat, that you buy in the supermarket actually, they use the cochineal pigment to make redder. It's very.
Look up a reference image, I think. Cibele, you're filling out the space too really well, and I think it's such a good idea to let the sort of spray bottle or that kind of flicking method kind of fill the space and then see where there's more that can be filled.
So if you think it's not like you want to make things more smoothly, you can get a brush just water, and you can smooth out a little bit, so you can pull, so it doesn't show that. Sometimes some people like more smooth watercolor, so you can just grab your brush, just a plain brush with just water, and try to smooth things up a little. I love watercolor. I have to tell. I start to work watercolor when I start work at Creative Center. So I've been an artist in residence at Creative Center for 3 years now, a little over 3 years. And my formal education actually is in photography, but I was always very curious to try anything else. So one of the first classes I took was watercolor, so I could teach the patients at Creative Center. And since 3 years ago, I've just been painting watercolor. It's so much fun, so relaxing. It's because it's so liquid and there's so much accidents, that the hap accidents happen. You try to control the hap accidents and you find something else every day. I think is one of the most beautiful mediums that I ever know. It's amazing. Watercolor is really an amazing.
It's fantastic too that so many of our artists in residence, they come to us in one medium of art, but then as they explore things with their patients, it really helps them expand what they love to do. And it's so amazing to consider that, Cibele, seeing this massive watercolor behind you. I mean, what are the dimensions of the piece that you have?
It's 3 feet by 7, I think, something like that.
Okay. Wow. That's very big. It's a big watercolor painting.
Yeah, it's almost 4 feet. 3 feet or something by 1, 2. I don't know. I bought a paper. So what happened is, when I realized we're gonna close down, I went to the art store and I bought a roll of paper.
Oh, cool.
a roll of watercolor paper. So I just rolled them in the wall and cut it. So I don't even know the size exactly it is.
That's exciting. That's a new way to do it.
Yeah,
I'm
sometimes
sure.
buying roll of paper is cheaper if you really have a project that you know gonna be working on, you know. You can go and buy a roll of paper. And a lot of times, it's even there. No, it's not a lot of people buy roll of paper. So sometimes it's no, it's much cheaper actually. So that's what I did. I bought a big roll of paper. Oh, yeah, so that's our Tardigrade for today.
Very cool.
Let me show you guys a little of some other paintings here. So this, actually, this guy is upside down. I've been painting the little guys. This is my newest one. So I started small. I make like 8x10s. After that, I try to do a little bigger ones. It's kind of really sad because let me see if I can do. The video is vertical, no?
Yeah, the video is vertical, but maybe Cibele, I can, if you want to cancel the share screen.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Stop
so you can
here.
hold that up then.
Yes. Okay, so some other things I've been working on. So this is actually the newest piece I've done, and I'm already transferring to a bigger piece. You know, and this was inspired by the fires. It's really sad that the fires in California and the fires.
Is that the Golden Gate Bridge?
The Golden Gate Bridge is I researched a lot of photographs. This I think is the Golden Gate Bridge. I think it is. The fires behind, and those are actually tuyuyu. Is a very the bird is a tuyuyu. Is a very is a bird from the Amazon forest in the north, the south of the Amazon forest in the Pantanal. It was 30% of the Pantanal was destroyed. Is what starts the Amazon forest before it becomes the forest is this piece of land called the Pantanal, and 30% of the Pantanal has been burned.
Oh man!
And I was there, when I was in college, and the tuyuyu, this bird, is like it's an amazing bird. So, and that's a dead tuyuyu, and that's kept in a mass. So I got a lot of research. So there's a lot of different scenes, different photographs that I put them together in different ways, and I make my own drawing out of it. You know, but I got inspired by some images that I found on Google Images. Here I have, I don't know. I don't like to talk about my work. I like people to see the work.
Well, I was gonna say, I think our subjects could be friends because I'm also painting a rainforest animal. When I was younger, I was obsessed with sugar gliders, which are a type of flying squirrel that makes their home in the Amazon. And they have these very cool kind of webbed paws. So I was trying to draw a sugar glider. That's what I came up with.
That's cool.
And sugar gliders and bats, they live in the same zone of the forest, which there's, I think, like 4 layers of the forest, and they live in the 3rd zone. So, yeah, the sugar gliders and bats hang out at night. They're both nocturnal.
Yeah. That's my bat.
I love that.
Yeah, it's another one.
And Cibele, with these paintings, are you starting with the subject? Oh my gosh, this looks like a slug princess to me, which I love. Do you start with the subject, or are you letting the space get filled out a little bit more with like that splatter technique, the spray bottles?
Yeah, I don't know, so in general I started so this guy here I had painted before in a 8x10, and after that I had another painter that was like this, and I was like, oh, it'd be nice to have a landscape like this. So I made this and now I have a bigger one, like a huge one that I paint out of this. But so before I do the big ones, I try to do a smaller one and see if it works. Now, of course, when you transport to the big, nothing is a little different, but no, it's a composition. You start to compose things and look at things. I taking me a long time to make one painting. Sometimes take stay there for 2-3 weeks, and and I keep looking at it because I'm not satisfied. I don't know what to have to change, and so finally I have to change this guy, this thing. But so it's a working process, not just like you painted, you sit it once and you paint the whole thing. I always work in 3 or 4 or 5 pieces at the same time, and one helps another one. When I'm stuck in one, I go back to the other one. I do that thing, and I feel confident to go back to the other one because I learn a little stroke here and there, or I figure out. So it's the nice thing I have in studio is you create this space that's always there. So it's not it's not your dinner table that you have to clean up for dinner every night. Nice thing I have a studio, you can hang your work there and keep coming back and you're looking at it and thinking about it and changing.
When you're working in this monochromatic style, how do you approach the layers? Do you try to start with like the lightest layer first or the darkest layer?
You always start with the lightest first. Also,
okay.
Because if you made a mistake, it's easier to fix one is lighter. You can't fix one is really dark,
Yeah, I also always, if I'm watercoloring, I try to have a paper towel handy just because you can really correct mistakes very quickly, or just like let them blend and kind of fade into the background. So that is such a cool painting, Cibele. I'm wondering, is that based on a place that you've been with that sort of mountainscape in the background?
So this it's kind of funny. This is the Chris Redmere in Rio.
Oh wow.
No, maybe you're not so used to the Christ in Rio. And I don't know. I really don't know. This actually comes from, I think, so Sam's drawing early on. He draw a volcano erupting and some tardigrades being burned, and I decided tardigrades were going to be attacking the city.
Very cool. Very much in a fantasy world, but one that I think is very different than what viewers in fine art galleries are used to seeing.
I don't know. It's like I can't. When I do my work, I can't think about. I do it for myself first, and I have no idea what's gonna good enough or not good enough. I have to do it. So I have to do it.
It feels very imaginative and free, and it feels in a way urgent. I mean, there's something about that red color too that it makes you pay attention. There's an urgency to it.
Yeah, the red, the meaning of red is so I do a lot of monochromatics artwork. I did a project in green, I did a project in blue, I did a project in gold, and when I decided to do red, it took me a long time to figure out what I'm gonna do with red. And I was reading books about colors. That's why I learned about the cochineal. So I decided to make the cochineal project. Where issue I have no subject to do the cochineal. Finally, I was like, Sam started to do tardigrades. I'm like, I think it'd be nice to do like painting tardigrades. Let me see. Anything else?
I mean, if you have more work that you'd like to show us, I just want to let everyone know that in addition to teaching classes for the Creative Center and other organizations around New York City, Cibele will also be having a show in September at the Lorimoto Gallery in Queens.
Yeah, so December.
Is that what I said? I thought I said
Lorimoto Gallery. So this being able to work so much in this series was made possible because I got a grant from the Queens Art Council right at the beginning of the year. And the show, you're supposed to have to create an original artwork and it has to be shown in Queens. And the Lorimoto Gallery offered the gallery. So the show is going to be in December. Hopefully, we're not going to be locked down by then. So this is another, actually, yeah. This is a Tardigrade town.
Tardigrade town. I love that. Oh, this is fantastic. Is this an armadillo?
Yes, this is an armadillo.
So cool. And if anyone is joining us in the audience that is currently in treatment, Cibele, as one of our artists in residence, also offers one-on-one art making sessions with people as they're undergoing treatment for cancer or other chronic illnesses. So I feel like I would love to paint with Cibele for an hour. And all of those offerings, both through the Creative Center Workshop Program and our Artist in Residence program, again, are free for anyone living with cancer or another chronic illness. Wow, this reminds me of a couple of different things, but I would love to hear from you what it is, what it means to you.
It's a mole. It's a mole animal.
And it's just kind of coming out of this very textured ground, right?
Yeah, it's a fun technique. I wet a lot, so like looks like it's fading, you know, like it looks like a camera fox, you know. It's now it's you have to have fun. You have to explore. The more you do, better you get. You should not be afraid of the medium, you know. Sometimes it's tempting because you know that a little stroke it can go really wrong in watercolor, but also you learn something new when you do the bad stroke, you know. And now in the next painting can be better, you know. There's a lot of things that I still not resolved. Like for now, I have like paintings that I just
Wow.
it's nothing to me. It's nothing yet, but now I'm learning how to do the leaves and I'm learning the process, you know. So things like you just have fun, you know. That's why like you buy 8x10 paper first before you go any big, you know. It's another one that I've been playing.
Oh, wow. The octopus takes over. Those cars, Cibele, too, are so detailed.
Full scars, yeah.
Yeah, they're really cool. There's so much dimension in just using that one pigment. I am really excited about it.
Just layering. So yeah, the scene behind you actually, remember it's like we talked last time. It's inspired by Star Wars.
Yeah.
Washington Square Park.
Nice.
By the bats.
We have about 5 minutes left. If anyone in our audience has any more questions about choosing a subject for painting, about using monochromatic watercolor strategies in painting, this is beautiful. This is also, is this Christ? Yeah?
Yes, this is Vladimir
Wow.
in Rio.
It's really beautiful. I love that this is just the subject and there's not this background fill. It really draws your attention. Oh, let's see. We have a comment from the chat. We have a participant, Anthony, who has sent in a landscape. So we'll be looking for that a little later to see. And yeah, we have another question about specifics of painting with Cibele. And Anthony, I will send you an email to answer that question.
Yeah, we're actually what I'm doing a lot. We're doing also abstract drawing right now. We're doing realistic drawing. We're doing pop-up cards. I know it's all one-to-one classes. We set up a meeting like on the week before, 1 hour. And generally, the meeting takes an hour, and we do we make a plan what we're going to do together. And we do a project together. One project a week, one drawing, and it's nice because it's very relaxing. It's just there's no rush, to do anything. It's not like a workshop that to try to accomplish a lot, so people can go home and try by themselves. This is really a continuous classes, so it's very full. I love to the classes, and they're all free. Take advantage of that. You can have me or other artists. We're 11 artists at Creative Center right now, all working from home, waiting for you guys to call us, and we are here for you guys.
We're
It's
getting
a
some
pleasure.
amazing.
I've been honored. Those last 3 years to work with cancer patients has been one of the biggest honors. Like it's so fulfilling. I feel very honored to be part of this group.
It is amazing to see how quickly people can feel so empowered by learning just really simple art making techniques. And Cibele, the way that you deliver those techniques, I think is so distinct and is so loving and is so imaginative. And we've gotten just now 3 or 4 comments in the chat about how much our audience is loving your work and loving your spirit. And I think we are going to end things here if folks don't have any more questions for us. Cibele, do you have any final thoughts about just starting out with watercolor? Any inspiration?
I feel like everything is, to be an artist, to be curious. So if you're ready, if you're curious, is the first thing, and after that is like learning. Some of the patient that was working the other day, he also learning Spanish, and he's like, oh, I'm not doing well. I was like, it's like, no, art is all learning a language. You just have to go for it. Don't be shy. Before Picasso was Picasso, he made a lot of bad paintings. It's like, and you're not gonna be Picasso. I'm not gonna be Picasso, but no, I'm doing this because I need to. There's something that now is inside of me, and if I don't do that, I have to express myself. Some ways is the way that I feel to relax. So don't be afraid. Just go for it. Have fun. Be challenged. Don't we always one thing my art that I like is if I feel too comfortable, I get bored. So I feel I always have to do something that's challenging me a little bit, make me a little uncomfortable, and that is the fun of it too. So don't be afraid to just keep going.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I think that is our takeaway from today's live studio visit with Cibele Vieira. Stay creative, everyone, and stay curious. And please stay in touch with the Creative Center. We are really looking forward always to having new one-on-ones with artists in residence like Cibele and new participants who are being treated. And again, all of our program offerings are free. So keep in touch, and everyone have a wonderful Thursday. Cibele, we cannot thank you enough for your time.
Thank you, guys.
And again, we will be sending the word around. We hope that people will support Cibele's show coming up at the Lorimoto Gallery in Queens in December. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Bye,
Thanks
Cibele.
so much, guys. Have a good day.